Welcome back to Sincerely Self podcast. I'm very excited for our guest today. She is a licensed clinical social worker and also the founder of Limitless Integrative Wellness, and she is known as the Rogue Therapist. Today, we are joined by Kristina Scallione. Kristina, give us a little bit of an introduction to you and kind of your journey.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I appreciate the invitation. So Limitless kind of came about accidentally. I got sick, I would say, back in 2021, and no one could figure out what I had. So I kept going to different doctors, different specialists, and everybody that I went to, because of whatever they specialized in, told me what they thought it was. And so ultimately what it ended up being was a vaccine injury. So it took about a year to year and a half to diagnose that. In the interim of me trying to get diagnosed and try to figure out the best way to heal my body, I just kept being brought to my, I guess you could call it my roots. And my family grew up very holistic. We integrated both Eastern and Western medicine when I was growing up. So wanted to go back to more Eastern
Mhm.
because the Western is kind of what got me to where I was. So
Exactly.
in my journey of figuring this out, I kept meeting some really awesome clinicians. And in that journey of meeting like a nutritionist, a physical trainer, an NP, and even a dermatologist, like all these different people, each person was able to give me a little bit of what ended up helping me heal myself. So while I strung all that together, I thought to myself, you know, when I'm treating clients in my own therapy office, my practice where I am today,
Mhm.
I like to give them a bunch of different options to try to figure out a solution to their problem. So it's not always just go to your regular doctor and only follow what they have to say.
Mhm.
I try to get them to incorporate multiple different disciplines into whatever it is that they're seeking help for. And I did the same thing for myself. So in my mind, how Limitless was born was, why don't I just take everybody that helped me on this journey and create a little collective and a group? I trust these people. I refer my clients to these people. Why don't I just make it so it's a collective and easily accessible for everybody that would see me? So that's kind of how it
Yeah.
happens. So the founding members of Limitless are all the people that helped me in my own personal journey and are people that I trust to refer my clients to. And there's a wide range. So there's the Western side of it, which I do have a nurse practitioner and a concierge MD, but I also have a Reiki practitioner, a massage therapist, a sound healer, a psychic, a tarot card reader. We have a salt room, we have red light therapy, we have all the different things, and we just try to marry it all under one roof.
I love that. I think it's so cool. We had kind of talked a little bit before we had started the podcast about how kind of what brings you into the healing space is something that happens to you that you kind of have to figure out. And you're like, I finally figured this out, and I don't want anyone else to have to go through the ways that I had to go through it. And so I think that's so cool. You have been able to combine these different types of medicine and give people a space that they can go and figure out energetically what needs to be healed, physically what needs to be healed, and just overall find it in one space.
Yeah, I don't believe in a one size fits all.
Mhm.
Anybody who's a client who wants to sit with me, I like to use a lot of analogies or visualization exercises. And I say things like, let's just throw spaghetti on the wall and see what sticks. Let's just throw as much as we can and see what works. Because each person that I work with, something different might help them. And it doesn't always have to be a physical layer issue. It could be an emotional or spiritual, like you just said. And
Mhm.
so I wanted to have different clinicians under the same roof who could all collaborate together and help anybody along the way. And anybody who's not able to, do we have a strong referral system? We do, because there's also people that aren't actually under the same roof that are nearby that we trust to refer to.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like to walk the walk and talk the talk. I feel it's very important business model.
Mhm. Oh, 100%. I think if, yeah, like you said, walk the walk and talk the talk, you've been through it. You went through your own journey. And so you know what
Yeah.
these people may need, or you know at least where to refer them. And I think it's awesome that you've been able to create a community of providers that you know and that you've worked with. So tell us a little bit about how you kind of came up with that idea to use the people that you already know and that you trust.
So I referred to them even before I had a space where everybody could collaborate together. And I said, are you interested in more clients? Or are you interested in maybe expanding your practices, because there's also a lot of times people have changed a lot, I want to say, since 2020 to now. Like, they've
Oh
revamped their
yeah.
businesses, they've also changed like how they want to approach things, and it's not always about medicine, it could be about physical fitness. But a lot of the people that I've worked with have changed their business model a little bit to be more person centered. And that really
Mhm.
excited me, because I like person centered more, because I'm a therapist. So who doesn't
Yes.
want to be person centered? So
Mhm.
when I was working with these individuals, I asked, would they be interested in collaborating? Would they be interested in working with other, women entrepreneurs and people who might, want a different direction for their own business model? And then it just kind of evolved from there. And coupling that with my private practice, it's been a humongous resource for my clients, and it's been a
Oh
lot of
yeah.
fun too, to be part of such a collaborative network, and so many different women, so many different workshops, and so many different things that we can do. And it's not just about making money, it's about also helping each person with their own personal goals. It could be any level, any size goal.
Oh
So
yeah. I love that. I feel like finding a career where you can do that, help people, the abundance will just come in because you're just energetically aligned with that frequency. And I think women collaborating together is just such an amazing frequency and just such a healing one as well. So I love that you've been able to, yeah, create this space where people can go and they can feel that. So I kind of want to pick your brain on what got you into doing your own private practice in the first place and kind of your journey into that. Because I think a lot of times people maybe want to be a therapist or want to kind of look into it, but they don't know exactly where to start. So, kind of what was your journey with that?
Oh, it's kind of a funny story. I was in therapy myself, and my therapist thought it would be a good idea for me to pursue this as a master's. And initially, when she suggested that, I balked at the idea. I was like, no way. I couldn't do what you do. Like, she was such an amazing therapist. She was a trauma specialist. And I was at the time diagnosed with PTSD. So I was like, I don't want to, I can't imagine having to hold space for people like that and to do all the things. She's like, no, I really think you would be good at it. You're great at talking with people. You're able to connect. And so funny, the funny part is she actually assisted my partner, who I live with, to the application for school. So
Wow.
her and my partner were like, I think this would be a good idea. So they filled out the application. I eventually participated because I had to do the personal essay. So I did the personal essay, but I thought to myself, I'm never getting in. What it's not, I'm not getting in. It's not going to happen. But what do I have to lose? Let's just submit the application. Well, I got in. And then I was like, oh, now I have to like do this. So I went into my first the when I think back about grad school and how I found myself in this space, for the first year of grad school, the icebreaker in class was, why did you want to be here? Why do you want to be a therapist? And my answer was always like, I'm not sure I want to be. I'm here to find out if I even like it. So everybody
Yeah.
was always put off by my answer, because I wasn't like, in my mind, I wasn't destined to do that at the time. But
Mhm.
as school continued and I started to learn all the different ways that social work could touch lives and how broad of a topic it was, I started to believe that maybe I could find a path. And I didn't, begin in private practice. I worked at an agency first. I did a nonprofit for 2 years. I worked there. And then I did, I would say, like a middle of sort of being a big agency and being a private practice. So like a middle ground. I did that for a few years too, with a
Mhm.
special population. And then I found myself really enjoying the one-to-one cultivation with clients and doing it in a holistic way. And that was really where the rest of my path was forged. So once I found my voice and I was able to incorporate my own experience in life to help people holistically find their way, and it's also treating anxiety holistically and depression, and trying to find a happy matrimony between what we know works and maybe things that we haven't tried yet, and then
Yeah.
developing it from there. And that's it's been 12 years. So
Oh, yeah, you're right. That is like kind of a funny, being recommended to be a therapist by your therapist. But at the
yeah,
same time, it's like, who better to recommend that to you than the person who has gone to school for this to give you the most honest feedback to like benefit you? Like, it really
yeah,
is the best person possible to tell you. And I think it's kind of cool that you were not set in it. Like you were still kind of, oh, I don't know. Because I think when you're not attached to the outcome of something, you're more likely to show up in it more and try and learn in it more because you're trying to figure it out in the first place. So I love that that was kind of your background story into it.
Yeah, I was working, I had a photography business. I was a wedding photographer before that, and I was working at Starbucks for benefits. So I was just trying to like figure it out. I had two little kids and I was like,
Mhm.
I can't, I'm going back to school and they're both under 7 and I was like that's going to be a lot. And then it
Yeah.
ended up being really enjoyable, and while I was there, I met a lot of awesome people. My best friend, who's still, in the trenches with me now, is one of the people that helped me figure out what Limitless was going to look like. And she's also somebody that helped me grow my private practice into a group practice. So she's a co founder of Root and Rise.
Mhm.
So we have Limitless as an umbrella of services, and then there's a clinical arm to it, which is Root and Rise Clinical Specialists. When I just, kind of picked a lot of these awesome women that I've worked with along the years, and we all want to contribute in a different way to help our client base.
Yeah, and I think building a business with the people who helped you get there is the best possible outcome. You know what I mean? It's always great to bring new people onto your team, but I think having a team of people that you've known that have seen you through your journey, I'm sure is just such a powerful feeling to know that all these women have been there with you.
It's super important, that part, and also that I trust in the work that they provide. I
Mhm.
trust in their quality and how each person that I've worked with and that I currently work with or is incorporated in our group, they care. They care a lot. They give a crap about what goes on, and they go
Mhm.
the extra mile outside of their sessions to try to help their clients. And that's really important to me, that a nutritionist is going to go home and she's going to research a couple things that she may not know a lot about, and she's going to come back and give that information to her client, or my physical therapist is going to modify whatever she needs to modify to help these people get over their physical challenges. And it's just, I think the fact that it doesn't just, their hat doesn't get hung up at the end of the night, that it's
Yeah.
something that they live, eat, and breathe. It matters a lot more, and it changes the way that they provide care.
Oh yeah. I also kind of noticed while you were saying that that they all continue to keep learning. Like they never think that they know everything. They're always willing to, yeah, look things up at home and maybe educate on something that they're not super familiar with, or maybe look into new methods for their clients. And I feel like that's the best type of provider there can be is someone who, yeah, doesn't stop working when they clock out.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, that's how my therapist was, who referred me to grad school. She didn't just stop working when her hours ended in her office. She gave me book recommendations. She gave me other things to try in between sessions, and that's really been an important model for me when I work with my clients. Is I want to give them stuff to try. Like, let's just see what works. Whatever resonates, take that and then leave the rest. And let's just keep going.
Yeah. 100%. I feel like that's kind of the best approach that there can be is, yeah, just see what feels right.
Definitely.
Yeah. So the last thing that I want to pick your brain on, Christina, is holistic medicine, specifically for our women who maybe don't really know much about it. If you were to have a client who didn't know much, what would you recommend women to first if they're looking into holistic medicine?
First, I would ask them like what it is that they're looking to treat and what is the symptom that's coming up for them now that they feel it's important to go about it in a holistic way. I think holistic, it should always be incorporated regardless, and it should
Oh,
definitely
yeah.
be braided into whatever their provider recommends. But let's say that they don't know exactly what it is, and something similar to what happened to me. First, you should do some reading. You should just research what you can, not like WebMD, because I feel like WebMD is like, I have a cough and then now I'm dying. So I don't want to I
Yeah,
don't want I
exactly.
don't want to do the WebMD because it could increase anxiety. But let's start with what
Mhm.
we know to be true. And what we know to be true is diet has a lot to do with the way that our body responds to our environment. So I would first recommend that they start to look into supplements and things like that that can help support whatever they're feeling is lagging. But to get like go for consults, and check out the nutritionist, anybody, if they're not in my area and they can't, participate with the people that we have. But a lot of the women that I have here are hybrid, so they are able to be patched in just like us right now. So I would first recommend, like, let's sit down and let's talk to people that might be in that niche of whatever your symptom is, and then let's see what the holistic alternative is in that particular, um, let's say that little topic. So let's say they're let's say it's hormones. Let's say they're starting to get like a imbalance and they're noticing some changes. I would say let's start with your gynecologist, but also let's check out if that particular office has a midwife. Let's see if some, because they're also equally as informed as a gynecologist, and a lot of
Mhm.
offices do have a lot, well, at least the ones that I am associated with, they have a mixture of practitioners. So it's not just a gynecologist, there's also a midwife, there's also an NP. Let's go check out what they might have to recommend. And then let's also check out the other aspect of a possible nutrition response nutritionist who will do a vitamin supplement testing. And we can also check out other things that might be coming up. Let's say they have symptoms of their hair is thinning or something else is coming up. I'd say let's ask the questions that we want to get information on from the people that we know to ask, like a dermatologist or a gyno. And then
Mhm.
let's find the holistic alternative and see if we can marry the two things, because there's value in everything that we can learn. It doesn't have to be one or the other. We can marry it. And
Yes.
I like try to make things less polar opposite. Like it's important in my practice to be dialectic, which means let's try to get into the gray. Let's not
Mhm.
stay with black and white. Let's try to make it in the middle here, and let's see what works for this person's lifestyle.
Yeah, I love that you guys do that at Limitless because I feel like a lot of the time what we see in society is either there's people who are really against like Western medicine or modern medicine, or there's people who are kind of against holistic medicine. And so being able to combine the two to reach a middle ground where maybe both areas may lack a little bit is, yeah, marrying the two of them is really the best possible thing that you can do for your body. And I love that you guys kind of educate people on both aspects because I feel like it's so important as women to know at least a little bit about holistic medicine because yeah, with hormones and just our body in general, it really helps with balancing.
Yeah, I mean, what's the harm in learning about it? Even if you don't go
Exactly.
for whatever they say, what's the harm in learning about it?
Hmm.
What's the harm in asking questions? Let's just try to see, let's excavate what we can and see what we can learn about the particular issue. And maybe not all of the information applies, and that's okay. And I think
Yeah.
going into this as let's be open to learning something new, as opposed to let's have to like we have to find a solution. There's a totally different vibe to each one that I just prevented. I have to find a solution, increases your anxiety, and it feels like there's a sense of urgency that can create stress. And let's
Hmm.
being open to learning is a little bit more of a gentler way of going about a resolution.
Yeah. Steering clear of the WebMD and yeah, just taking a breath,
Yes.
taking it step by step to figure it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, thank you so much, Kristina, for joining us today. I will have all the information for Kristina and also Limitless, so you guys can go check those out. Like she said, they do hybrid. So if you're not in their area, a lot of the providers you still will be able to reach out to. And I really encourage you to, because like we've been saying throughout this episode, there's so many ways you can even just learn about your body. So thank you, Kristina, for giving
Absolutely.
us
Thank
all
you.
this information today.
Thanks for having
Yes.
me.
Of course. And I will see you guys next week.